Think back to yesterday. Not the highlights, the whole thing. Every second from the moment you opened your eyes to the moment you closed them. You can't. And that isn't a flaw in your memory. That is your memory working exactly as designed. Right now, roughly 11 million pieces of information are pouring into your brain every second. Light, sound, pressure, temperature, the feeling of your own tongue resting in your mouth. 11 million. And of that flood, your conscious mind processes maybe 40. Not 40,000, 40. So where does the rest go? It gets deleted, silently, instantly, before you ever know it existed. Your brain is not a camera recording your life. Your brain is an editor, and it is ruthless. It throws away almost everything you see, hear, and feel, and it keeps only the tiny sliver it decides you need. The strange part is what happens next. Because the version of reality you are living inside right now, the one that feels so complete and seamless and real, is a highlight reel stitched together from that tiny sliver. You are not experiencing the world. You are experiencing your brain's aggressive summary of it. And once you understand how the summary is made, you start to see just how much of your life you were never actually there for. Let's start with the eyes, because your eyes lie to you constantly. You feel like you see a wide, sharp, detailed world in front of you. You don't. Only a tiny patch at the very center of your vision, an area about the size of your thumbnail held at arm's length, is actually in sharp focus. Everything else is blur and guesswork. Your brain paints in the rest from memory and expectation, then presents it to you as if it were real. Here is how you can tell. Your eyes are not filming smoothly, they jump. 3-4 times every second, they flick to a new spot in short bursts called saccades. And during each of those jumps, for a fraction of a second, you go completely blind. Your brain simply deletes the blur of motion and hides the gap from you. Add it all up, and you spend roughly 90 minutes of every waking day blind, and you have never once noticed. Do you find that hard to believe? Try this. Look into a mirror and shift your eyes from one of your own eyes to the other, back and forth. You will never catch your eyes moving, ever. The motion is real, but your brain edits it out before it reaches you and quietly fills the blank with a still image. You are watching a movie of your own life with the boring frames cut out, and you have been convinced it is one continuous shot. Now here is where it gets stranger. It isn't just motion your brain hides. It will delete an entire person standing right in front of you. In the late 1990s, two psychologists named Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris ran an experiment that has since become famous. They asked people to watch a short video of students passing a basketball and to count the passes. Simple task, focused attention. And halfway through the video, a person in a full gorilla suit walks slowly into the middle of the screen, stops, beats their chest, and strolls off. It is on screen for 9 full seconds. Half the people who watched never saw the gorilla. Not blurry, not half-noticed, nothing. Their eyes pointed straight at it, and their brains threw the image away before it ever reached awareness, because they were busy counting, and a gorilla was not on the list of things that mattered. They call this inattentional blindness, and once you know it exists, the ground shifts a little under your feet, because it means the things you don't notice aren't things you failed to see. They are things your brain saw clearly and decided, on your behalf, to erase. And it goes further than a gorilla you weren't looking for. Your brain will let the world itself change while you stare right at it. Simons ran another study, and this one is almost impossible to believe until you have seen it happen. A researcher stops a stranger on a college campus to ask for directions. Mid-conversation, two people carrying a large door walk rudely between them. In that brief moment, the person asking for directions is swapped for a completely different human being. Different face, different clothes, different voice. And around half of the people giving directions carry right on talking, never noticing that the person in front of them has been replaced by a total stranger. Your brain didn't store the first person's face. It stored a guy who needs directions and reused the label. They call this change blindness, and it reveals something humbling. You do not hold a detailed picture of the world in your head. You hold a rough sketch, and you trust the world to stay put so you don't have to remember it. Most of what you assume you are seeing, you are actually just assuming. There is a hard limit underneath all of this, and it is smaller than you would ever guess. In the 1950s, a psychologist named George Miller published a paper on how many things a human mind can hold in conscious awareness at once. His famous figure was about 7, and later research pushed it even lower, closer to 4. 4. At any given instant, the entire spotlight of your conscious attention can only grip a handful of things before the rest slides into the dark. Everything outside that tiny beam is not being experienced. It is just being deleted a little more quietly. So your eyes delete, your attention deletes. Your grip on the present holds only 4 things at a time. But the biggest deletion of all is time itself. In the 1880s, a German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus decided to measure how fast memory decays. He spent years memorizing thousands of nonsense syllables and testing himself over hours, days, and weeks to see how much he forgot. What he found became known as the forgetting curve, and it is brutal. Within an hour, you have lost more than half of what you learned. Within a day, roughly 2/3 is gone. Not fading slowly over a lifetime, gone by tomorrow. Think about what that actually means for the day you are living right now. Most of it is already scheduled for deletion. The conversation you had this morning, the exact words, the tone, the expression on the other person's face. By next week, almost all of it will be erased, and you will keep only a vague summary, a feeling, a gist. The specifics dissolve. Why would evolution build a brain that forgets on purpose? Because remembering everything would destroy you. Imagine recalling every single meal, every stray thought, every identical morning commute in full, vivid detail, all competing for space at once. You would drown in your own past. A brain that remembered everything could never find the one memory that mattered when it mattered. So forgetting isn't the failure of memory. Forgetting is the feature that makes memory usable at all. Your brain deletes the ordinary so the important can rise to the surface. But here is the twist that should genuinely unsettle you. The memories you do keep, the precious few that survive the cut, are not recordings either. They are reconstructions, and every time you pull one up, you quietly rewrite it. The psychologist Elizabeth Loftus spent her career proving this. In one line of studies, she showed people footage of a car accident and then asked about it using slightly different words. When she asked how fast the cars were going when they smashed into each other, people remembered higher speeds, and many later remembered seeing broken glass that was never there. One changed word, days later, edited the memory itself. She went on to show that with the right suggestions, people can be led to vividly remember entire events from childhood that never happened at all. Sit with that for a second. Your most treasured memory, the one you are certain of, the one you would swear an oath on, has been quietly edited every single time you have revisited it. You are not remembering the event. You are remembering the last time you remembered it, plus a little distortion, again and again, like a photocopy of a photocopy. The memory feels sharpest precisely because it has been retouched the most. So let's count what has actually been deleted. The 11 million signals per second gone down to 40. The saccades, the 90 blind minutes a day, gone. The gorilla in plain sight, gone. 2/3 of today gone by tomorrow. And the fragments that survive, rewritten a little more each time you touch them. What, then, is left? What is this thing you call your life? It is a story. A tight, edited, deeply personal story your brain assembles from a handful of surviving fragments and then narrates back to you so smoothly that it feels like continuous, complete reality. You are never watching the whole film. You were only ever watching the trailer, and your brain was cutting it in real time. And maybe that changes how you want to live inside it. Because if 99% of your life is going to be deleted no matter what you do, then the small fraction that survives becomes almost unbearably precious. Your brain has already decided it can't keep everything. The only real choice you have is what to feed it. The moments you pay full, undivided attention to are the ones that stand a chance of making the cut. Everything you move through half-present, glowing screen in hand, thoughts somewhere else, is being erased even as it happens. You are deleting it live. Which means presence is not some soft, spiritual luxury. Presence is the single lever you have over what your one and only life will ultimately have been made of. Attention is not just how you experience a moment. Attention is the vote you cast for which moments get to survive. So go back to yesterday one more time. You still can't replay the whole thing, and now you know you never could. But that isn't the tragedy it first sounded like. Your brain didn't fail to record your life. It did exactly what it evolved to do. It carved away the endless, meaningless noise so that something, a face, a laugh, a single golden afternoon, could be kept. The question was never whether your brain deletes 99% of your life. It always will. The only question is whether you were awake for the 1% it chose to keep.